aggression. I'm going to show you guys some reenactments of aggression so you guys kind of get an idea of what aggression could be. It could be different types of levels. Hopefully you guys get a laugh of my little skits. So enjoy. Hijo de tu puta madre. The fuck? Motherfucker. Why did he just come here? Motherfucker. Hurry up. Motherfucker, if you're not gonna go fast, let's go. Excuse me, ma'am? Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, this is not the correct change. Okay? And I got a coupon, and this is just not right. I'm washing the dishes. Oh, hey, Arisa, how are you doing? Oh, I have a really bad day today, and I don't feel like talking. Did that happen to you? Hurry the fuck up! Fudger left his underwear on the floor again? Did he just say that to me? Did he really think that he could say that to me? Not clean your room. That is not right. You gotta do it now. Yo, I know she's talking about me. I know she is. I can hear her. I can see. Did you not see that shit? Did you not see that? No. I'm gonna beat that bitch up. Passive aggressiveness. Is that how you feel sometimes? Do you get frustrated? Do you get angry? Do you realize you pick a fucking fight? I'm sorry, a fudged fight for everything and everything. Do you realize that people are always telling you, why are you so angry? Why are you complaining about everything? Welcome back, you guys. Thank you so much for coming back. I hope you guys learn a lot today in regards to anger and how you can learn to control your anger. It is possible, believe me, because I'm a very damn angry person, and I will tell you my experience with anger and give you some suggestions and coping skills and interventions so you can go on your way to start to learn how to control your anger just like me. We're not perfect. There's going to be times where it's going to spill out, and that's okay. We just got to learn how to control ourselves and handle it right. I'm never going to take that away from you guys. We have every right to be angry. We have every right to be upset, sad, mad. But it's how we handle it, peeps. Passive aggressiveness can also conjure up anger because you're pressing that down. Like I said, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel all these things, especially with anger. But it's how we handle the situation. Feel angry, but let that anger out in a more positive way. And I will tell you how that is. Please don't forget to subscribe, like my video if you really enjoyed watching, and sign yourself up with the notifications in case you don't follow me on Instagram. It's the same as my YouTube. I really appreciate for those who have already followed. So please subscribe. Years old, I had just gone through a really horrible breakup. I had gotten cheated on. I wasn't really learning how to cope with that traumatic event. So of course what I did, I started drinking and I was venting, and one thing led to another. A family member told me something because they were annoyed by my repeatedness, and I just flipped a switch, and that was the first time I've ever actually verbally threatened someone while I was intoxicated. That was the first incident that happened to me, and it was very embarrassing because I felt really remorseful afterwards, and I couldn't believe that that occurred. But at the same time, it made me think about why was I really upset? And I know that there was a lot of history between me and my family member. So I know that part of it had to do with a lot of suppressed stuff that I've never actually had told my family member. A lot of anger and frustration that had been piled up for a lot of years because we've known each other for so long, and I have a huge family, so we see each other a lot. So that was kind of my fault for kind of using that incident and leveraging old feelings that I've had and started attacking the family member. So that wasn't the best approach. So yeah, it started there. Fast forward, I'm in a relationship, right? And it was very rocky in the beginning. And it was actually the first time that I was exposed to any type of aggression. So in a sense, it was kind of modeled to me when I was in the relationship, and I picked up on those behaviors and I started retaliating back. So every time that person was aggressive, I would be aggressive back. And as the years went on, it just kept increasing, and it kept getting worse. And even though things would trickle down, for a few months, it would spark up like all over again. And to a point where I argued and I fought so much with the person I was with that it spilled all over into my other relationships, my friendships, my family members. Anyone that I was encountering with that triggered or reminded me of certain things, I would snap and just be mean, be in a bad mood, be moody, start arguments for no reason. Or they'll tell me something and I'm just like, no, you're fucking wrong. No, you're not right. No. I knew I was wrong. Deep down inside, I knew I was wrong. Afterwards, I would always reflect and I'll be like, yo, that's not me, man. I don't like when I get angry. I don't like that when I drink, I'm pissed. When certain things happen, because I'm not an angry drunk. When I grew up, you know, like I mentioned, I had a really big family, big Mexican family. We all drank, and some of my family members were kind of aggressive when they would drink, and they would start drama. So I don't know if me watching that as a kid kind of made me think that it's okay to do that, or it kind of taught me those behaviors unconsciously, and then I started doing them on my own. And that's what I say, people, is that sometimes we don't really purposely want to copy people's behaviors. It just happens. But it's our job to realize, oh, dang, I'm being just like this person. What the fuck? I don't want to be like that. That's fucking, And you know what really helped me, you guys, is really working with my clients and actually seeing the way they acted. And I was like, that's how I am, you know? I act like that. I need to do what I'm preaching. How am I going to help my clients if I can't even utilize that within myself? A lot of my clients were going through therapy and they were receiving behavioral services. So I went to therapy. I did the same thing like what my clients were doing. And honestly, you guys, it helps so much because I know that it was couples therapy, but granted, he did keep telling me, you got to do your own individual therapy. You got you're too emotional. But I just didn't have the time. I thought that this was enough, and I think it was to some extent because of my job. I'm constantly being exposed, and so it reinforces the stuff that he was already telling me. So it was just really, really helpful. He helped me really look within me and expect results within me. Like, stop expecting things from people, which is making you angry, was making me angry. I'm such a giver that I would expect. I got to a point where I wanted back, and I was just like, I've never used to be that way. I was never taught to be that way. I was like, you give. Don't ever expect anything back. You're giving because you want to, not because it's a forceful thing. And I got to a point where it was a forceful thing, and I was never like that, and I wanted to go back to my old ways. So that was my motivation, is knowing that that's not really me, and I wanted to do things differently. And I worked on me. I stopped focusing on their behaviors, on my partner's behaviors. I stopped thinking, well, look at what you're doing. Because my therapist told my ass, you need to worry about what you're doing. And that helped a lot. So you guys need to start doing that. Okay, so I'm going to talk about an intervention. One intervention that I learned from was this book that I read, The Power of Habit. Right here, you guys. This right here. Sorry. The Power of Habit. Great book. This book made me understand why I would get angry, and then at the end of it, what the result was. Because basically, the Power of Habit pretty much explains that there's a certain cue that's going to trigger your aggression, right? And then you do that behavior, right? You get angry, you scream, and then at the end, there's a reward. What's that reward? What is it, you guys, when you get angry? When you get angry and you scream, do you feel better? Do you feel distressed? Do you feel relieved? What is it? And because there's always a reward at the end of it. For me, it was, we would fight, and then at the end, we would be okay. And we're like, oh, so I like the end part. Oh, let's give a hug. So I was like, okay. So my mind thought, I argue. Then at the end, we're all blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay. So why can't we throw away that, and can we just be like, blah, 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 blah. That was my experience. But you guys have to figure out, what's the reward at the end of it? Do you have to fight? Okay, that's fine. Maybe you need a punching bag. I totally condone that stuff. I don't think that we should suppress our anger. If you like to hit things, do it in a safe way. Buy some punching gloves, buy a punching bag, Put it outside your backyard. Whenever you pissed, you hit that damn thing. Go do some exercises. Those are interventions to help you reduce your anger. But you have to do those things. You can't expect for it to just stop out of nowhere. Another technique is that really worked for me is tightening up my body. I would sit down in a chair like this, and I've taught this to my clients, and what worked for me is like I really wanted to scream and like hit a person, so I sat and I tightened my body really, really tight, like really tight. Like I mean, you could hear it in my voice. I would tighten up my body, take deep breaths, and let it go. So basically, I wanted to hit something. So what I did is I just did it to my body. I will warn you guys, you will feel sore because technically it's kind of like you're tightening up your muscles, all your whole muscles, kind of like you're taking a shit, but you're not shitting. And I did it for like 10 minutes and it worked. I know it's a long time, but I was shocked that it worked. It helped me. Another thing that you can do is walking away. Walk away, peeps. I know it's hard, but walk away. There's no reason. I tell everybody, if you get angry and you respond, they won. They won because they made you angry. You got to a point where you didn't want to be, so they technically still won. Yeah, you got what you got to say. You said what you got to say, but at the end of it, you got angry. They got you angry. They have power over you. Don't let them have power over you. Now going back to the habit loop. In order for you to change that behavior, you got to use that habit loop. So when there's that cue that makes you angry, you need to replace it. Instead of responding the way you're used to responding, you need to replace it with something else so that you could get the same reward. And that's how it works. It applies with self-harm, with anything that you do. There's always a reward to it. You just got to figure out what that is. So that, okay, well, when I yelled, it made me feel good. I felt relieved. Okay, well, maybe you need to yell at the top of your lungs in a room. Scream in a pillow. Let it out. But don't scream at that person. And then eventually, I feel so much better now. No, go fucking yell at the mirror. Go yell at yourself. See how that looks like. Watch someone yelling at someone like that and see how you're gonna look like. Maybe you're not gonna care. Who knows? Maybe you're not ready. But those are suggestions that you can do in order for you to stop your anger. And it worked for me. And I'm sure that it can work for you guys if you try really, really hard. Mind read, people. That's what causes us to get angry. Don't mind read. Don't think that, I know what you're thinking. Nah. That's just like the examples that I gave in the beginning. Don't mind read. Don't think that you think you know. Because you haven't even asked. So don't do that. Okay? Don't make threats that you're not going to promise. It's not fair. It's just not fair that you're going to say like, you know what, I'm going to do this to you because you did it to me. To a friend or whatever, or doing it back to them without saying it. It's still the same thing. You know, you're threatening the person. You're pretty much saying like, you better watch your back because I'm going to get you. Like, no, fix yourself. Like, what'd you do? I don't understand that. So, no, I do understand because I used to be like that. You shouldn't drink because you're just suppressing your anger. And when you're done drinking, you're still gonna feel anger. Probably feel worse. Or if you're angry and you don't know how to let out your anger, the alcohol will let you be angry, and then it's not really healthy. I mean, and then you get used to that, and then you kind of think like, oh, when I drink, I open up and I actually say how I feel. Maybe I should start drinking. I don't know. Sometimes we think like that. Like we think like, kind of like the situation with me. You know, I fought. And then the end of it, I got affection. And in my mind rationalized like, okay, so every time I fight, I get affection at the end. So I liked it. But in reality, I didn't like the whole fighting portion. So I had to figure out a way to cut that part out. You know, I got used to that habit of loop. You guys need to get yourselves out of it too. I'm still working on it. So let's do it together. It's not as bad as how it used to be. I still have certain little things and habits that I tend to revert back to when I'm angry. And especially when I'm really hungry. Or when I'm on my menstrual cycle. Damn, I'm a bitch when I'm in a menstrual cycle. Like, I'm mean. So I gotta always like warn my family like, hey, my period's gonna come. I'm really sorry if I'm really irritable and blah blah blah. But I still don't want to keep using it as an excuse because I don't want to use it as an excuse. I want to really try my hardest. But I think sometimes it's uncontrollable. It's so hard to explain how irritable we are when we're on our periods. I know it's a girl thing. Sorry guys if you guys are watching. But in all honesty, I know that I really want to try my hardest to not be so overreactive because my son will eventually pick up my behaviors. I mean, he already is kind of. I see how he talks back to me, and I keep reminding him, like, please don't talk the way I talk to you. Like, I'm sorry I talk to you that way, but do not copy me, because like I said, you guys, we all copy each other. We all model our behaviors, no matter if you're 5, 6, 7, 12, 15, 20, 35, 40, 60, till the day you die. You will model people's behaviors. It really depends on who you're with and how susceptible you are to modeling those behaviors. Like I mentioned, if you're more of a leader or a follower, it just depends on your personality. But sometimes it just happens. We tend to dress the same. Your group, we do our makeup the same. We listen to the same music sometimes, depending on your group. I mean, like I mentioned, I like EDC. My brother goes to EDC. My sister goes to EDC. And it's because I modeled that behavior. I would go every year. So they seen me and they're like, I want to go too. So that's just a small example of how very easily family members can pick up behaviors. Especially Mexican families, because we're so big. And there's a lot of us, different personalities. And we're yelling and screaming. And we're always... I mean, it's part of our culture, right? But we're all modeling each other. So just think about that, okay? Hope you guys have a good rest of the day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Don't forget to subscribe, you guys. One thing that I forgot, you guys, is listening. I know that I mentioned that on the video, is that you have to listen, but a lot of us tend to listen, but we're just waiting for the next response. Like, we're just thinking about what we're going to say next. We're not really listening. So by actually listening and repeating what the person is saying, you're acknowledging what they say. Don't mean you agree, you guys. You're just acknowledging. You're clarifying. Oh, this is what you're saying, blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay. And then it's your turn. And then you say what you have to say. And they have to practice the same thing. If they're not in the same boat in the communication, it ain't gonna work. Just letting you know, all right? See you guys later. Bye.